So she established her practice in April 2022, almost 7 months back. But seeing her passion regarding spreading financial and taxation literacy forced me to ask her for this session. And thank you so much, Karima, for agreeing to my request.
Thank you for having me, Prince. Thank you so much. And thank
Great,
you to
great.
everybody who's tuned in.
Okay, great. So, Garima, if I miss something on your introduction, or maybe you want to add something to it, over to you, please.
Sure. So, I qualified my exams this February itself, February 2022. And after that, I established my practice in April 2022. And so it's been a good period of 7 months. Uh, so, I'll tell you all a little about my CA journey. So it was totally a chance incident for me. By the time I reached my class 11th, समझ आ गया था कि साइंस तो नहीं हो रही है अब. So हमारे स्कूल में we only had two streams. One was science and the other was commerce. So I opted for commerce. But when I started reading the subjects, then I realized कि actually I have a passion for accounting and taxation in particular interested me a lot. So I filled out the form for the CA, and later on, when I qualified my IPCC, and I was in Hyderabad for about a month. So we're supposed to go this training called MCS. It's part of our curriculum. उसमें we were given activities on a daily basis, like we were supposed to do case studies and workshops and real life scenario based activities. So then I found out that I have this knack for entrepreneurship, and I come from a background that is totally like service oriented. My father was a government servant, and my brother is he's in the corporate world. He's working with the Boston Consulting Group. So before that, I wanted to go into the big fours only, but after going to Hyderabad, I decided that I'll get into entrepreneurship, and I am the first CA and the first entrepreneur in my entire family. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a ride, and but to sum it all, I'm enjoying it thoroughly. And yeah, these 7 months have taught me a lot about entrepreneurship, and you have to be a jack of all trades. You have to learn marketing and then sales and negotiation. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. And like not being gender specific, but again, more participation from women in these financials is really helping the society big time. So, without wasting further time, a very, very relevant question, which we see, I mean, which we assume is very basic. But again, why you think taxation is important and why everyone should comply with it, right? Are there any perks involved in being clean in the books of the government?
Yeah, definitely. So, the importance of taxation has to be considered from two, three perspectives. It's important for the government because it fetches them revenue, and when they get revenue, they can carry out various welfare activities for us, like healthcare and education. And for a normal citizen like me and you, uh, the first most important thing is कि रेड ना पड़े हमारे घर पे. उसके बाद we don't get any fines, penalties, and if you are tax compliant, आपको definitely it's easier for you to manage your finances, right? So uh, like keeping in mind the setup of this session, we can analyze taxation from the perspective of an investor. So what happened was कि कोविड में इन्वेस्टिंग बहुत ज़्यादा ग्लैमराइज हो गई, राइट? We got a lot of cheat sheets and a lot of content in the form of reels and YouTube shorts. तो हमें बेसिक्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग तो सिखा दिए गए कि अच्छा ऐसे कर लो, बहुत सारे टिप्स मिल गए, एडवाइसेस मिल गए, बट nobody really taught us about the taxation perspectives of it. इंसान ने ट्रेड करना सीख लिया है ना, उन्होंने इन्वेस्ट करना सीख लिया, उन्होंने पोजीशन स्क्वायर ऑफ करना सीख लिया, लेकिन उन्होंने ये नहीं सीखा कि अच्छा इसका सर्टेन पोर्शन मुझे रेमिट करना पड़ेगा कहीं या डिपॉजिट करना पड़ेगा, यही उसके क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस होंगे, उसका कैसे ट्रीटमेंट होगा। सो बट नॉट एवरीबडी लर्न इट फ्रॉम यूट्यूब और इंस्टाग्राम। बहुत लोगों ने दे लर्न इट द हार्ड वे, by being into the market for years and years, and analyzing financials and annual reports, and doing fundamental analysis. So like I'll tell you the live example. मेरे जो clients हैं, so उसमें वंस अपॉन अ टाइम केवल सैलरी इनकम होती थी जनरली, राइट। बहुत कम ही ऐसे रिटर्न्स होते थे जिसमें टैक्सेशन, सॉरी, कैपिटल गेन टैक्स होता था, या फिर किसी ने ट्रेडिंग की होती थी। नाउ व्हेन वी फाइल रिटर्न्स, आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ सीएस विल अग्री, 95% रिटर्न्स में यू विल हैव सम सॉर्ट और द अदर कैपिटल गेन्स टैक्स। सो पीपल वर नॉट अवेयर, वो क्या कर रहे थे, वो 10 बार दिन में अपनी पोजीशन स्क्वायर ऑफ कर रहे थे, है ना। उन्हें नहीं पता था कि शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन क्या होता है, लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन क्या होता है। सो इन ऑर्डर टू नो कि मेरा पैसा अगर मैं यहाँ इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ, तो इतना उसका पोर्शन मुझे कहीं पर डिपॉजिट करना पड़ेगा, मेरे से लिया जाएगा। दैट इज वाई टैक्सेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू फॉर यू, राइट। सबसे पहले आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि मेरे पास एक्चुअली कितने पैसे आएंगे, एंड एज यू से कि मनी सेव्ड इज मनी अर्नड, राइट। तो अगर इतने पैसे आप टैक्सेशन में से बचा लोगे या उसको स्मार्टली इन्वेस्ट करके आप उसके बेनिफिट्स रीप कर लोगे, तो दैट इज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अर्निंग फॉर यू एज वेल। ऑल्सो लोगों को नहीं पता कि शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन या लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन क्या होता है। तो अगर आप 1 साल के बाद सेल करोगे, तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन कहलाएगा। बट पीपल वर मेकिंग स्मॉल मिस्टेक्स लाइक सेलिंग इट ऑन द 364th डे। उससे क्या हो जाएगा कि आपको जो एक सर्टिफिकेट एग्जेम्पशन मिल सकती थी वो आपको नहीं मिली, एंड यू हैड टू pay a straight away tax of 15%. So yeah, one has to be किसी भी पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए, एक ट्रेडर, एक इन्वेस्टर के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए, या फिर एक नॉर्मल सिटीजन के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए, टैक्स कंप्लायंट होना इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर एवरीबडी।
Right. So, I mean, you talked about short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain, and very rightly explained that if somebody is holding I mean, his position for less than any year, that will invite short-term capital gain, and beyond that, it will be a long-term capital gain. So, my question is like many people have this question in mind. Say, if somebody is not a salaried person, or maybe he or she has do not have any income, right? So in such cases, say he borrows money from his family and invest in shares, right? And at some point in time, he redeems or maybe realize the profit, and he has some short-term capital gain, right? So in such cases, his taxation would be like he has to submit 15% to the government, or it would be like initial 2.5 lakhs, the normal exemption would apply to him or her.
या सो ये जो 2.5 लाख की लिमिट के बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं, इट्स कॉल्ड द बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट। ये हर सिटीजन को मिलती है। इफ यू आर बिलो 60 years, देन इट्स 2.5 lakhs for you. If you are a senior citizen above 60 years, then it's 3 lakhs for you. So बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट बिल्कुल हम शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन और लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन दोनों के अगेंस्ट क्लेम कर सकते हैं। अब इसमें अगर आपके पास फॉर एग्जांपल एक एक एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं कि आपके पास सैलरी इनकम है, आपके पास इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज है। तो पहले जो सेट ऑफ होगा वो सैलरी इनकम और इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज के अगेंस्ट होगा, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट ओनली यू विल बी एलिजिबल टू क्लेम द बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट अगेंस्ट योर कैपिटल गेन्स। तो अगर आपके पास 2 लाख रुपए आपकी सैलरी थी फॉर एग्जांपल, तो पहले आप 2 लाख सैलरी इनकम को सेट ऑफ करोगे आपके बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट से, एंड द रिमेनिंग 50% यू कैन डेफिनेटली क्लेम फॉर बोथ काइंड्स ऑफ शॉर्ट टर्म एज वेल एज लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन्स। एंड इफ किसी की इनकम फॉर एग्जांपल 20,000 रुपीज ही है, तो दे डोंट नीड टू फाइल द रिटर्न्स, कोई नीड नहीं है उनको, दे कैन स्ट्रेट अवे प्रोसीड विद इट।
Okay, a follow-up question on that, like if the gains are large and the person is say in the tax bracket. So he or she has to submit it on quarterly basis, or it would be like they have to file an ITR on yearly basis. How it should be? I mean, the ideal way.
Can you elaborate a little on the question, please?
So question is like, I mean, say if a person has a salary of 10 lakhs a year, right?
Hmm.
On top of that, he has invested some money, and later, say out of that, he has some 1 lakh of short-term capital gain, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And that is divided over 4 quarters.
Hmm.
So would it be like he has to submit the final ITR at the end of the year, or the gains which he I mean had over a period of time has to be submitted on quarterly basis?
Okay, so in this case, advaंस टैक्स का concept comes into picture. advaंस टैक्स आपको तब पे करना होता है जब आपकी total tax liability is 10,000 rupees or more, right? So अगर आपकी tax liability 10,000 रुपए से ज़्यादा आती है तो आपको quarterly tax का payment करना होता है. उसके certain rates और certain dates होते हैं. Dates I will mention. So 15 June, 15 September, 15 December and 15 March. इस पे आपको अपना टैक्स का पोर्शन डिवाइड करके इक्वली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट मतलब रेट्स के बेसिस पे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करके एंड डिपॉजिट करना होता है.
So, like recently, we had one news like the government is simplifying the ITRs, right? They are keeping ITR 1 and ITR 4, if I'm not mistaken. So, I have a question on this. Like, there are gaps between taxation, the essence of taxation, and understanding of taxation by people, right? Because I have seen many people, they have salary, they have components, but before they get a notice from the department, they do not realize the importance of a CA or maybe a tax advocate who can file ITR for them. So how we can reduce the gaps between the understanding of taxation and complying on that?
राइट. सो लाइक एज यू मेंशन कि पीपल जब उनके पास नोटिस आ जाता है वो तभी इसको कंसिडरेशन में लेते हैं. सो सबसे पहले पीपल शुड अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन टैक्स इवेजन और टैक्स प्लानिंग. सो टैक्स इवेजन ऑब्वियसली सबको पता है इलेजिटिमेट है, उसके रिपरकशंस होते हैं, राइट? और टैक्स प्लानिंग इज टोटली लेजिटिमेट. गवर्नमेंट ने आपको बहुत सारे एवेन्यूज दिए हैं कि आप अपने स्मार्टली इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करके टैक्स प्लानिंग कर सके. तो जनरली होता क्या है कि अगर एक सैलरीड एम्प्लॉय की बात करें तो फेब्रवरी या मार्च के टाइम पे हमें अ, अपने रेंट रिसीट्स और अपने एग्जेम्पशंस और डिडक्शंस के डिटेल्स सबमिट करने होते हैं. सो उस टाइम पे वी सिट एंड थिंक कि अच्छा, अब मेरा इतनी लाइबिलिटी हो गई है तो अब मैं इसको कैसे रिड्यूस करूं. या फिर जब आप अपने रिकॉर्ड्स कंसोलिडेट करते हो, वो भी जनरली फेब्रवरी या मार्च के टाइम पे ही होता है. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज, उस समय अगर आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करने बैठते हो, सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू यूजुअली टेक डिसीजंस इन हेस्ट, है ना? उस यू डोंट हैव द रिक्वायर्ड अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम कि इसमें आप सही इन्वेस्टमेंट और सही टैक्स प्लानिंग डिसीजंस ले पाओ. प्लस अगर हम ईएलएसएस की बात करें, सो ईएलएसएस के केस में ऑल ऑफ अस यूजुअली गो फॉर द एसआईपी रूट ओनली. सो एसआईपीज अब क्या होता है, वो वी टेक अ सर्टेन अमाउंट एंड मंथली हमारा डिपॉजिट हो जाता है. सो इफ यू स्टार्ट योर एसआईपी फ्रॉम से फेब्रवरी और मार्च, आप शायद अपना पूरा 1.5 लाख का एग्जेम्पशन एग्जॉस्ट ही नहीं कर पाओगे, करेक्ट? सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर पीपल टू नो कि टैक्स प्लानिंग एक ईयर राउंड प्रोसेस है. इट्स नॉट अ वन टाइम प्रोसेस. यू डोंट हैव टू डू इट इन मार्च और फेब्रवरी. आपको पूरे साल करना है. आपको पूरे साल अपने फिनेंशियल्स एनालाइज करने हैं, आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट्स देखने हैं, and accordingly you have to make the tax planning investments.
Right, Garima. So, what all saving schemes which could be potential good investment? I mean, for covering the limit of savings, basically.
Yeah, so chapter 6A के deductions की बात करें, ATC है, ATD है, you should definitely, a health insurance is very important for everybody. People usually miss out on its benefits क्योंकि वो हमें कोई return नहीं दे रहा होता है. But definitely it's very important, सबके पास एक health insurance with a decent coverage होना चाहिए. Then ATC में there are very lot of attractive options, जैसे आपके ईएलएसएस हो गए, Then you have tax saving FDs, you have LIC. ATC की लिमिट 1.5 लाख होती है, एंड ATD की लिमिट होती है 25,000 for a non-senior citizen and 50,000 for a senior citizen. एंड बिसाइड्स दैट आप एजुकेशन लोन अगर आपने कोई लिया है, हाउसिंग लोन लिया है, सो उसके कई सारे आप बेनिफिट्स क्लेम कर सकते हो.
Right, right. So we have two speakers with us. So Sanjay and Think Invest. So Sanjay, you can ask your question first, then we move to Think Invest. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Garima. Just wanted to sort of, I mean, ask you. I mean, you can use this forum to actually. I mean, also, I mean, the earlier question from Prince was that ITR भरने में लोगों को मतलब लोग भरते नहीं हैं because till they get notice, etc. So, I mean, maybe you can just explain to everyone as to why ITR is required. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हमें रिटर्न भरना क्यों जरूरी होता है.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your question, Sanjay ji. So, ITR डेफिनेटली एक हमें टैक्स कंप्लायंट सिटीजन बनना है, हमें एक गुड समारिटन बनना है. बिसाइड्स दैट बहुत सारे हमें बेनिफिट्स भी होते हैं उससे, जैसे कि हमारे कोई रिफंड्स है, मान लीजिए हमारा TDS ज़्यादा अमाउंट का कटा है ना, या हमें कोई एग्जेम्पशंस क्लेम करनी है. सो फॉर दैट ऑल्सो मान लीजिए आपका 10,000 एक्सेस टैक्स कटा हुआ है, so you can definitely get that in the form of a return. And if we talk from the perspective of a business, so एक कोई small business है, if they are just starting out, it's very important कि they are tax compliant, they have certain loyalty, and they have a brand, they have a reputation. So for them also, ITR filing is a very important step.
Thank you. I think I can probably add some more, but whenever we have time we can do that. So I mean,
Yeah, Sanjay, will get back to you on
yeah,
this.
sure.
So Think Invest, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Garima. Actually, my question is quite basic. When it comes to REIT distribution, does government deduct tax on complete distribution by default? On if yes, if they deduct like in dividend category, how should what documents we should produce in order to get the refund? Because not every REIT is completely taxable. There are some tax free parts in REIT. So yeah.
So Garima, do you think the question is relevant to today's topic, or shall we wait for our next session?
Yeah, so I think we can take up this question in the next session. I think we should stick to, we've sort of missed out on the capital gain part of it, जो हमें basically discuss करना था,
Okay,
right?
sorry, I thought it was for taxation part, whatever we earn from market. So
Yeah.
REITs, yeah, I'm so sorry for that. Yeah.
Not a problem. Yeah, yeah, Garima, you were telling about the capital gain thing, so you can elaborate on that.
Definitely. So, to understand कि capital gain tax क्या होता है, सबसे पहले हमें जानना होगा कि capital assets कौन से होते हैं, right? So, capital assets can be any assets from, you have your equity investments, and you have your property, you have certain investments in gold. So, capital gain is any profit that is received through the sale of a capital asset, right? अब एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने आज एक प्लॉट सेल किया है. उस प्लॉट की वैल्यू आज थी से 10 लाख रुपए. उसके बाद 10 years later the plot is valued at 20 lakhs. So इस 10 years में उस प्रॉपर्टी की वैल्यू 10 लाख से इंक्रीज हो गई है, एंड जब हम उस प्लॉट को सेल करेंगे तो 10 लाख हमारी इनकम हो जाएगी. उस इनकम पे जो हम टैक्स पे करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड कैपिटल गेन्स टैक्स, राइट? अब इसमें देर इज अनदर पॉइंट दैट हैज टू बी टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन, दैट फॉर एग्जांपल देर इज अ बिल्डर. एक बिल्डर का काम है कि वो प्लॉट्स परचेज और सेल करता है. तो अब उस बिल्डर के लिए ये प्रॉपर्टी जो होगी वो स्टॉक इन ट्रेड होगी. इट्स हिज फुल टाइम जॉब टू construct and sell plots, and the income that will be business income. So, just because we are selling an asset or selling a property डज नॉट मीन कि स्ट्रेट अवे वो कैपिटल गेन हो जाएगा. उसमें वी हैव टू कंसिडर सर्टेन पर्सपेक्टिव्स एज वेल, राइट? Now, capital gain tax is of two types. So, first is short term capital gain and the other is long term capital gain. अब अगर हम इक्विटी की बात करें, सो इक्विटी के केस में इक्विटी या फिर इक्विटी ओरिएंटेड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हो गए या फिर म्यूचुअल फंड्स हो गए, राइट? तो फॉर एग्जांपल कोई शेयर है मेरे पास जो मैंने 8 अगस्त को परचेज किया एंड देन 8 दिसंबर को सेल कर दिया, सो वो शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल असेट, शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन कहलाएगा, राइट? अब इसके जो प्री कंडीशंस हैं दैट आर कि अगर हम किसी भी इक्विटी या इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट को 1 ईयर के अंदर सेल कर देते हैं तो वो शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन कहलाएगा. अगर हम उसे 1 साल के बाद सेल करते हैं तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन कहलाएगा, राइट? अब इसमें देर आर सर्टेन फैक्टर्स टू डिटरमाइन कि वो शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन है या लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन है. जैसे डेट के केस में इट्स 3 years एंड इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी के केस में इट्स 2 years, राइट? Then the other thing that we have to know is rates. So taking the example of equity में अगर short term capital gain है तो वो सेक्शन 111A के अंडर कवर होता है एंड उसका रेट होता है 15%. अगर लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन है तो वो सेक्शन 112A के अंदर कवर होता है एंड द रेट ऑफ टैक्स इज 10%. लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन के केस में हमें there's one factor that we should know कि 1 लाख रुपए का एग्जेम्पशन भी मिल जाता है. सो अगर मेरे गेन से 1 लाख तक है या 70,000 है तो वो स्ट्रेट अवे एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा एंड वी डोंट हैव टू पे एनी टैक्स ऑन दैट. उसके ऊपर कोई भी अगर टैक्सेबल पोर्शन है सो इट विल बी टैक्स एट अ रेट ऑफ 10%. बाकी कोई भी असेट है से डेट और गोल्ड और बॉन्ड्स, सो उसमें अगर शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन है वो स्लैब रेट के हिसाब से टैक्स होगा एंड अगर लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन है तो वो 20% के हिसाब से टैक्स होगा अलॉन्ग विद द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ इंडेक्सेशन. Indexation, if we can cover later in this session, right? So मतलब if we take the real life example, सबसे पहले जब हम कोई भी शेयर को सेल या फिर परचेज करते हैं तो सबसे पहले जो हमसे टैक्स लिया जाता है दैट इज कॉल्ड सिक्योरिटीज ट्रांजैक्शन टैक्स. किसी भी परचेज और सेल पे जो लेवी किया हुआ टैक्स है दैट इज कॉल्ड एसटीटी इन शॉर्ट. अगर आप इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो तो ये केवल सेल साइड पे लगेगा, यानी कि जब आप उस सिक्योरिटी को सेल कर रहे हो देन ओनली एसटीटी विल बी लेविड ऑन यू और उसका रेट होता है 0.025%. अगर आप डिलीवरी ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो सो ये बाय और सेल साइड दोनों पे लगेगा एंड द रेट विल बी 0.1%, right? And yeah, so we also have to take into consideration speculative income as well. Speculative income हमारी इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग हो जाती है. इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग को हम स्पेकुलेटिव बिजनेस इनकम कहते हैं और इसको हम किसी भी बिजनेस इनकम की तरह ट्रीट करते हैं और जो हमारी इनकम होती है वो हमारे टोटल इनकम में ऐड होती है एंड स्लैब रेट्स के हिसाब से टैक्स होती है. उसके बाद देयर इज वन अनदर पॉइंट दैट वी शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ कि स्पेक्युलेटिव इनकम का अगर लॉस है तो वो केवल स्पेक्युलेटिव इनकम के गेन के साथ ही सेट ऑफ हो सकता है एंड किसी और भी प्रकार की इनकम के साथ नहीं सेट ऑफ हो सकता है एंड इसका कैरी फॉरवर्ड का पीरियड होता है 4 years.
And for that, I think we need to mention that in the ITR itself, right? So as to claim the benefit. Right. Okay.
Right.
So can we offset the short-term capital gain with long-term capital gain?
Yeah, definitely. So अगर short term capital loss है आपका, so you can set it off against short term capital gain or against long term capital gains as well. एंड अगर आपका केवल लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल लॉस है तो उसको केवल लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन के अगेंस्ट ही सेट ऑफ कर सकते हैं. उसके बाद अगर आपका कोई अनयूटिलाइज्ड लॉस है तो उसको आप कैरी फॉरवर्ड भी कर सकते हो, यानी कि इस ईयर के लॉस को मैं अगले साल के लॉस अगले साल कैरी फॉरवर्ड करके और उसको अगले साल के गेन के अगेंस्ट सेट ऑफ कर सकती हूँ. बस इसकी एक प्री कंडीशन है दैट यू हैव टू टाइमली फाइल योर रिटर्न्स. जो कि नॉन ऑडिट केसेस के लिए है 31 जुलाई एंड ऑडिट केसेस के लिए है 31 अक्टूबर। सो आपको अपने रिटर्न्स जो है वो वेल विद इन ड्यू डेट्स फाइल करने होते हैं एंड देन यू कैन टोटली टेक द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ कैरी फॉरवर्ड।
Right, right. So, via media, can unmute and we can ask.
We can ask. Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me? Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yeah, firstly, thank you very much, Ms. Garima, for taking the time out and patiently explaining everything to us so nicely. So, really nice of you to take the effort. So, I have about two, three questions. Firstly, in case the value of trading in stock market exceeds a certain amount, is it true that the IT return has to be filed only by a CA and not by anybody else?
Hi sir,
Hi,
thank
sir.
you for
Thank
your
you for your
question.
question.
Am I
Am I
audible?
audible? Yeah, you're audible. Is my question clear to you that if your trade value is exceeding a certain amount, then the IT return has to be perforce filed by a chartered account? This is what I was told. Is that right?
So if you
So
could
if you
mute
could mute
yourself.
yourself.
Actually, my voice, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so it will basically apply in the case of audit cases, right? Generally, anybody can file their ITRs on their own, but if your income basically exceeds 10 crores, if your turnover or your income exceeds 10 crore, or there are certain other conditions in case of FNO and so basically, if you fall in the case of tax audit, then you have to get your accounts audited by a CA. In that case only, it's mandatory to get it filed by a CA. Otherwise, you can totally take it up on your own.
Okay, thank you for that because I was given the impression if you are dealing with say about 40 50 lakhs in trading, then the tax people treat it as a business and accordingly, they treat it as a business. That is one thing. My second question is I was told that in case you are doing intraday trading, then you will have to file your tax return in ITR 3 where it is treated as a business income and thereafter it will be charged at 30% and you cannot go back to ITR 2 in the sense like say this financial year I have done intraday trading. I cannot go back to ITR 2 in the next financial year. Is it so complicated like that? Because of that, I have stopped doing intraday trading completely.
Yeah, so it will definitely be treated as business income, and in case of business income, it will be ITR 3 for you as only. But no, if you're not trading and if your return is it's only salary and capital gain, you can totally go back to ITR 2.
No, I have given a very clear cut thing. For example, in my case, I get a pension and I am also doing stock market trading. So I am under the impression if I do intraday trading, I have no choice but to file it as a business this thing in ITR 3. And thereafter, whatever I get, it will be charged as 30%, which is obviously not a happy situation. And the CA who filed my return told me that it is not easy to get back to ITR 2 also. But in any case, I'm going to continue my trading. So does that mean that this IT intraday trading is really so damaging? I'm not talking of large amounts. I'm just talking of day-to-day amounts. Seeing some stock which is predicted to go up, you just invest a little amount, maybe a few thousands at the maximum. You get that much, but the implication seems to be very painful thereafter. That you have to perforce pay 30% tax and things like that.
Yeah, so if you are taking up trading activities, then definitely ITR 3 will be applicable to you. If you stop trading, then if, like I mentioned, if you only have salary and capital gains in your income, so then you then only ITR 2 will be applicable to you. And for intraday trading, there is another condition like if you have 2 3 transactions, then I don't think there is any need to consider it as business income. But if you are doing full-time intraday trading, then you will have to file it as business income and ITR 3 will apply to you. I don't think there is any provision of not being able to opt from one ITR to the other. It will only vary on the basis of the kind of income you have.
Okay, thank you for that. The next question is like you gave the example of offsetting the losses, short-term loss against long-term loss and things like that. So if you could just take a small example and explain it to us in the sense like say this current financial year, I bought a stock and sold it at say 1,000 rupees loss. So how do I carry forward this, or how do I offset it against the gains which I made either short term or long term? With a small example, if you could explain that.
Yes, yes, definitely. So, for example, I have a loss of say 10,000, right? I have a short-term capital loss of 10,000. And for this year, if I have a short-term capital gain of 20,000, so the 10,000 loss that I have, I can offset it from the short-term capital gain of 20,000 I have. यानी कि मेरा जो टैक्सेबल इनकम अब होगा दैट विल बी 10,000 रुपीज. 10,000 लॉस दैट आई हैड वो मैं अपने 20,000 गेन में से सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दूंगी और मुझे जो टैक्स पे करना होगा वो केवल 10,000 रुपीज पे करना होगा. करेक्ट. नाउ अगर इस साल फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेरा कोई गेन था ही नहीं, I only had a loss of 10,000 rupees. So the 10,000 I will carry forward in the next year, और next year मैं उसको अगर मेरा कोई gain है से 50,000 60,000 जो भी है, so उसको 60,000 के against set off कर दूंगी.
Okay, thank you very much. And the last
Thank you.
question, which you already probably covered it, like for example, my son has just started some business kind of a thing, so he really doesn't have any income. So if he indulges in stock trading and he makes short-term gains and things like that in his name, he still have to file a tax return? What I understand is whether you have got anything or not, tax return is a mandatory thing to file. Means the moment he makes any tax gain, I mean capital gain, so does it become mandatory that he has to file the tax return though he is below the 2.5 lakhs exemption limit?
No, no. Only, like I mentioned, the basic exemption limit of 2.5 lakh is available both in the cases of short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain. So if their income is below 2.5 lakh, then there is absolutely no need to file their returns. Yes, if their income exceeds the basic exemption limit, say for example their income is 3 lakh or 3,50,000, then they have to file their returns.
Okay, thank you very much for covering everything so nicely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah, Ashish, you can quickly unmute and ask. So, Ashish, if you have any question, you can quickly unmute and ask. Otherwise,
Hello.
yeah,
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
yeah. Ashish, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask, as per my CA, he has told me that whatever short-term gains in equity is there, you cannot offset with any losses in FNO. Suppose there are losses in FNO, you cannot, I mean, at the end of the year, you cannot offset those losses with the profits. Is there any way to do it?
Ashish, on a
Hello.
lighter
Hi,
note,
Ashish.
sorry to come in, Garima. So, on a lighter note, Ashish, it would be wise to drop FNO. In such case, we won't make
No,
any
no,
FNO losses.
I need to
Jokes apart,
understand.
yeah, Garima, over to you.
I want to understand whether if
Yeah,
suppose
so
if you
FNO,
make it a
we,
company, is there a difference? If you make it a company instead of individual,
yeah,
is there a taxation difference?
okay, so FNO is definitely a very wide topic in itself. We will definitely try to cover it next time around. But FNO income is basically treated as your business income. Right. So, like I mentioned, that short-term capital losses you can set off only against short-term capital gains and long-term capital gains. So, if you have a short-term capital loss, then you can't set it off from your FNO income because FNO income is your business income, right? So, there can't be any set off for the both.
Yeah, but if it is made into a company, it is not an individual, but if it is made into a company, is it allowed?
No, the rules are the same for all sorts of organizations, but yeah, a formation of a company or an HUF has certain tax benefits in themselves, I think that also we can cover for the next session. But as of now, formation of in any sort of company or any other organization will give you the benefits of setting off. The set off or carry forward laws remain same in all circumstances.
Okay, okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Ajay.
Ashish. So,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. So, Devesh,
Thank you.
you can quickly unmute and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is, I have a dividend income in my account, and are there any expenses or interest which I can set off against that dividend income?
Yeah, hi Devesh. Thank you for your question. So, no, you can't claim any expenses against your dividend income. Dividend income will be taxed as per your slab rate, and you can't really set off any interest or any other expenses that you've incurred for the purpose of incurring that dividend income from it.
And a follow-up question. I have some unlisted or the securities which are not traded anymore, suspended for trading, but they are still in my demat, and from last 8 years they are in my demat. So, um, how to get, how to know when they will be delisted, and if I have missed out some stocks which are not in my DP, and how I can claim loss against them, but how to know that they are written off or they are not written off, they are still a company, they are not liquidated.
I think this is a very investment specific question. Prince, do you want to take this up?
Garima will take this question later, so because we will digress from today's topic. And so, Devesh, thank you for your question. We'll get back to you on this. So, Garima, moving on to next question, we are yet to talk about tax harvesting. So, how it could be beneficial, and what are the ways in which we can do this?
Yeah, so tax harvesting is a very it's a very beneficial concept and not many people are aware of it. तो क्या है कि 2018 के पहले तक we did not have any long term capital gains on equities, right? 2018 में ही हमारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन पे टैक्सेशन 10% का प्रपोज किया था एंड एज एवरीबडी मस्ट बी अवेयर कि 1 लाख तक हमें एक एग्जेम्पशन मिलती है, करेक्ट? So any capital gain up to the limit of 1 lakh is exempt. You don't have to pay any tax on it. And over and above that, you have to pay a tax, straight away tax of 10%. तो इस 1 लाख के एग्जेम्पशन को यूज करके टैक्स सेव करना, इट्स कॉल्ड टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग, राइट? तो वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ एन एग्जाम्पल. मेरे पास सर्टेन शेयर्स है जिनकी वैल्यू आज है 2 लाख रुपए, राइट? मैंने उन्हें 1 साल पहले परचेज किया था 1 लाख रुपए में, करेक्ट? नाउ ऑन दिस डे मेरा अनरियलाइज्ड गेन जो है वो है 1 लाख रुपए. सो गवर्नमेंट क्या कहती है कि जब तक हम इन शेयर्स को सेल नहीं करेंगे तब तक हमारा ये जो भी गेन है ये अनरियलाइज रहेगा और हम इस पे कोई टैक्स भी नहीं पे करना होगा, कोई टैक्स पर्पसेस के लिए इसे कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे. तो फिलहाल जो मेरा कैपिटल गेन है दैट इज ₹0, करेक्ट? अब मैंने 1 साल पहले इन शेयर्स को खरीदा था और मैंने सोचा था कि मैं इसे 10 साल तक होल्ड करूंगी और 10 साल बाद इसकी वैल्यू हो जाएगी 10 लाख रुपए और मेरे को अच्छा खासा इस पे गेन मिल जाएगा, ठीक है? बट जब आप 10 साल बाद इसको सेल करोगे तो आपको टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा 10 लाख माइनस 1 लाख पे. 1 लाख इसलिए डिडक्ट करेंगे क्योंकि हम किसी भी असेट को अगर सेल करते हैं तो उसमें से हमारा जो भी कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन होती है उसे हम कंसिडर कर सकते हैं, राइट? तो 10 लाख में से हम 1 लाख रुपए हटा देंगे तो हमारे बचेंगे 9 लाख. एंड देन वी ऑल्सो हैव एन एग्जेम्पशन ऑफ 1 लाख रुपीज. तो 9 में से 1 लाख रुपए माइनस कर दिए, दैट इज 8 लाख रुपीज. 8 लाख रुपीज इज आर कैपिटल गेन एंड उस पे हमें 10% से टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा, करेक्ट? नाउ टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग कम्स इन द पिक्चर. सो फर्स्ट ईयर में मैंने इसको से आज की डेट में मैंने इसको क्या किया, 2 लाख रुपए में बेच दिया। मतलब मैंने 1 साल पहले 1 लाख रुपए में खरीदा था, आज उसकी वैल्यू 2 लाख रुपए है, राइट। सो व्हाट आई डू इज आई सेल दी शेयर्स फॉर 2 लाख रुपीज, राइट। एंड इमीडिएटली मैं 2 लाख रुपए में इसे बाय भी कर लेती हूँ, करेक्ट। तो जो मेरे शेयर्स थे जिनको मैंने डिसाइड किया था कि मैं उसे होल्ड करूंगी 10 साल तक, आई हैव दो शेयर्स विथ मी एंड आई एम ऑल्सो एबल टू अवेल द एग्जेम्पशन ऑफ 1 लाख, है ना। जो भी एक लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन पे आपका एग्जेम्पशन होता है 1 लाख रुपीज का, उसको क्लेम करके नाउ द टैक्स दैट आई हैव टू पे इज 0, राइट। सो आज अब इन टूडेज डेट उसकी वैल्यू हो गई 2 लाख। अब 1 साल बाद वंस अगेन उसकी वैल्यू से हो जाती है 3 लाख। मैं उसको 3 लाख रुपीज पे बेच देती हूँ। जो भी मेरा गेन है मैं उसे रियलाइज कर लेती हूँ एंड इमीडिएटली उसे बाय कर लेती हूँ 3 लाख रुपए में, करेक्ट। अब ऐसे करते करते 10 साल बाद ये शेयर जो है ये 10 लाख रुपए पे पहुंच जाएगा, है ना। अब एक्चुअली जो हम पहले कर रहे थे उसमें हमें 8 लाख रुपीज पे टैक्स पे करना पड़ रहा था 10% के हिसाब से। लेकिन क्योंकि मैं इसको हर साल सेल और बाय करती रही हूँ और मैंने अपने बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन का जो भी बेनिफिट था वो क्लेम कर लिया है, सो आज की डेट में माई टैक्स लाइबिलिटी वुड बी 0। मुझे कोई भी टैक्स लाइबिलिटी इस पे नहीं होगी, मुझे कोई टैक्स इस पे नहीं पे करना पड़ेगा। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड टैक्स प्रॉफिट हार्वेस्टिंग।
Right, like just a follow-up question on that. Just like in case of property, say if we buy one property and sell it and we have certain capital gain, right? And if we reinvest that money into some other property, right? So we get some exemption. So likewise,
करेक्ट
is
करेक्ट।
there any provision in investing? Like if I have a gain of say long-term capital gain of 2 lakh this year, right? 1 lakh would be exempt. So reinvesting that the remaining 1 lakh, would that give us any exemption or it will be straight away taxed at 10%?
No, no. Reinvesting would be straight away taxed when you actually redeem them, then only. And in the case of a property, we have certain other exemptions available as well. सेक्शन 54 में सर्टेन एग्जेम्पशंस होते हैं। इसमें ऑब्वियसली कोई टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग या फिर ऐसे कोई बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन का बेनिफिट हमें नहीं मिलता है। लेकिन फॉर एग्जांपल आई सेल अ प्रॉपर्टी एंड देन इमीडिएटली आई परचेज अनदर प्रॉपर्टी एक सर्टेन टाइम फ्रेम के अंदर या फिर बिफोर मेकिंग दिस सेल। सो सेक्शन 54 में देर आर लॉट ऑफ एग्जेम्पशन दैट वी कैन क्लेम एंड हम सब्सटैंशियली अपना कैपिटल गेन जो है वो रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं।
Okay, before coming to other speakers, like Garima, one doubt or question you may call, like you gave an example of say property was worth 10 lakhs 10 years ago and now it is 20 lakh, right? So in 10 years, the capital gain it would be 10 lakhs or it would be, I mean, some inflation adjusted price or maybe some sort of exemption would be there on that. I know the
या
topic is different from today's, but again, if you would like to.
नो नो, डेफिनेटली डेफिनेटली आई कैन टेक इट अप। सो आई वो केवल एग्जांपल के पर्पस के लिए था। इसमें से डेफिनेटली हम अपने कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन माइनस कर सकते हैं, हम कोई भी कॉस्ट ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट माइनस कर सकते हैं। दैट इज अगर हमने कोई रेनोवेशन कराई है प्रॉपर्टी में, कोई रिकंस्ट्रक्शन कराई है जिससे हमारी प्रॉपर्टी मॉडिफाई हुई है, सो हम उसके कॉस्ट को डेफिनेटली कंसिडर कर सकते हैं। एंड cost of acquisition will be index cost of acquisition. So like I mentioned कि 10 लाख की प्रॉपर्टी खरीदी थी 2002 में, राइट। नो लेट्स टेक कि हमने 1 लाख की प्रॉपर्टी खरीदी थी 2002 में। अब वो 2002 में जो 1 लाख की प्रॉपर्टी थी, वो आज की डेट में वो उसकी कीमत 1 लाख रुपए नहीं होगी, करेक्ट। सो उस पे हम कॉस्ट इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स लगाएंगे जो गवर्नमेंट नोटिफाई करती रहती है फॉर फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम, दैट इज डिफरेंट फॉर एवरी फाइनेंशियल ईयर। एंड उसको हम आज के वैल्यू के हिसाब से कंसिडर करके उसकी इंडेक्स कॉस्ट निकाल के एंड देन हम अपनी सेल कंसिडरेशन में से माइनस करेंगे। एंड जो भी कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन माइनस कर दी हमने अपने सेल्स कंसिडरेशन में से, हमने कॉस्ट ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट माइनस कर दी, हमारे कोई ट्रांसफर रिलेटेड एक्सपेंसेस हैं तो वो हमने माइनस कर दिए, एंड जो भी हमारा रिमेनिंग अमाउंट हुआ उस पर हमें टैक्स पे करना होगा।
Right, thank you. So, via media, sir has joined again. So, sir, you can quickly unmute and if you have any query or
If you have any query or Yeah, I have two quick questions. One is when you sell the property, you explain that it will be indexed. And also, I think if you invested in another property within a certain time frame, only then you are not taxed. Now, if already there is a house loan existing for the individual, can any benefit be taken for that? Like, for example, I sold a property this year. I already have two house loans running. So, is there any benefit given for existing house loan?
यस सर डेफिनेटली सो अगर आपने जो भी प्रॉपर्टी है इफ यू परचेज इट 1 year बिफोर द सेल यानी कि हाउस लोन इज नॉट द डिटरमाइनिंग फैक्टर हियर इट्स सिंपली दैट आपने से आज आपने प्रॉपर्टी सेल की राइट अब आपने जो नई प्रॉपर्टी परचेज की है वो या तो आपने 1 साल पहले यानी कि आज से 1 साल पहले अगर आपने परचेज की है तो बिल्कुल आप उसका सेक्शन 54 में बेनिफिट क्लेम कर सकते हैं
Like for a practical example, I sold the property in April this year, and I have bought the property last year in say June. So it is anything to do with financial year or just the 12 months period is counted?
Yeah, so if you purchase it in June, then definitely you can claim it because since it was purchased 1 year before this, so yeah, you can claim the benefit under Section 54.
Okay, thank you. Now, my next question is regarding dividend income. Like what I have been doing is that if a good company has declared income and the share value is commensurate, so I have been investing in that company and generating a decent amount of dividend income. But whereas my friend, he has been avoiding such a tactic basically because he says the dividend will pull him into the higher tax bracket. So, which thought process is correct?
Yeah, so I think because dividend income is taxed according to your slab rate, and जैसे जैसे slab increase होता जाएगा, so accordingly आपका tax bracket भी increase होता जाएगा. अगर आप 10 लाख से ऊपर चले गए तो आपको 30% tax से tax rate pay करना होगा. So yeah, definitely अगर आपका dividend income you realize it and it's added to your slab, so it will increase your total income and uh, somewhere your tax rate will also increase.
But if the dividend given is a decent amount, even after the taxation, won't you stand to gain? I mean to say, why I'm asking this question is dividend is a safe income in the sense it is assured income if you hold that much number of shares. Like for example, Coal India is given a dividend income of 9 rupees per share. So if you have, I'm just giving example, say 5,000 shares, you are assured that multiplied by 9 will be your dividend income. So even after going into the higher slab, even after paying the income tax on it, isn't it a safe way of making some money in the stock market?
Yes, definitely. You will make certain substantial gains on it, and you de- the companies declare dividend from time to time just to distribute their gains only. So realizing it is a good option in itself.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, sir. So, Garima, do you invest yourself in the equity? And if yes, which all asset classes you prefer for the investment and in any thought process or framework you follow?
Yeah, so I am not an avid investor. Uh, I will tell you a little about my investing journey as well. So, when I was in my CA finals, we had this subject called SFM, and we were taught the basics of stock market in itself. So, I bought some shares of Infosys that time, but I decided that I will hold them, but I didn't really hold them and sold them within a very short span of time. And COVID, maybe I did not really make any substantial investments. Usually, most of the people started investing during COVID only. So yeah, so right after I started earning, sort of started investing. I still have a long way to go. I have a lot to learn. But yeah, currently, my portfolio consists of somewhere around 70% equity. I have certain SIPs in index funds. Then I have certain investments in SGBs and FDs, and my mantra is very simple. You invest in things that you see around yourself, right? The brands we use on a daily basis and the brands we trust. And yeah, so and if I come across any stocks, then I definitely analyze their financials. I go through their annual reports and their balance sheets, and then only I make my investments. And yeah, I am looking definitely to diversify as well.
Okay, thanks. So basically, like you talked about going through financials and all. So being a CA, does it help you with the financials? Because if I talk about myself being from an engineering background, so I do not find myself so comfortable analyzing the balance sheets and income statement and all. So do you see any edge, or you guys also have to do a lot of work on that?
या सो आई कैन से थोड़ा सा एज है अ लिटिल बिट बिकॉज है ना, हम तो पूरे अपने कोर्स में बैलेंस शीट्स ही बना बना कर बड़े हुए हैं. एंड वी वर प्रिपेयरिंग बैलेंस शीट, वी वर एनालाइजिंग. सो कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा बेनिफिट डेफिनेटली आता है, राइट? बट आई थिंक इट इज वेरी इजी फॉर पीपल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट. अगर आप इन्वेस्टिंग सीख सकते हो, अगर आप टैक्सेशन सीख सकते हो, सो आप बैलेंस शीट्स भी एनालाइज करना सीख सकते, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स डू दैट. सो या, यू नो बिकॉज वी इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर करिकुलम, क्योंकि हम बचपन से कर रहे हैं और हमें बहुत टाइम हो गया है, सो थोड़ा सा एज डेफिनेटली मिल जाता है. बट आई थिंक like it is everybody's cup of tea. People can do it. It's not that tough, it's not that easy either. But yeah, एज की बात करें डेफिनेटली प्रिंस, तो हाँ, थोड़ा सा एज तो मिला है.
All right, great. So one question is on tax implications when company issues bonus shares. So any input on this if you want to take?
या सो बोनस शेयर्स के केस में क्या है कि नो बिफोर 31st, आई थिंक 31st January 2018, अगर कोई भी बोनस इशू जो है वो 31st January 2018 के पहले का है, सो उसकी जो फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू होगी एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, उसे हम कंसिडर करेंगे एज द कॉस्ट ऑफ दैट शेयर, राइट? उसको हम सेल वैल्यू में से सब्ट्रैक्ट कर देंगे और उसको हम शेयर की कॉस्ट मानेंगे. उसके बाद 2018 के बाद अगर कोई बोनस इशू हुआ है, तो उसकी कॉस्ट प्राइस निल होगी, कोई भी हमें कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन का सेट ऑफ नहीं मिलेगा, एंड सिंपली द गेन दैट यू रिसीव्ड विल बी टैक्स अकॉर्डिंगली.
All right. So we have one more speaker with us, Kumar Kumar Swami. So Kumar Swami, you can quickly unmute and ask your question. Kumar, if you can hear us, kindly unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Can you please let me know the tax implications on direct equity on US stocks?
Hi Ajay, you want to know about US stocks, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in the case of foreign stocks, सबसे पहले वी विल कंसिडर रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस. रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस, अगर आपने इंडिया में सर्टेन पीरियड 182 डेज और उसके बहुत सारे प्री कंडीशंस हैं, सो अगर उससे ज़्यादा आपने पीरियड इंडिया में बिताया है, देन यू विल बी कंसिडर्ड अ रेसिडेंट. रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया अगर आप कंसिडर होते हो, तो आपकी जो जो भी इनकम होगी वो इंडिया में टैक्सेबल होगी, करेक्ट? अब फॉरेन स्टॉक्स को हम अनलिस्टेड सिक्योरिटीज की तरह ट्रीट करेंगे. Unlisted securities के केस में the time period is 2 years. So if you sell your shares before 2 years, then it will be short-term capital gain. And if you sell your shares after 2 years, then it will be long-term capital gain. And इस पे जो टैक्स रेट होगा that will be 20%. इसमें इंडेक्सेशन का बेनिफिट भी आपको मिलेगा. एंड अगर आपको कोई डिविडेंड इनकम इनकर हो रही है इन फॉरेन स्टॉक से, तो वो आपके स्लैब रेट में ऐड होगी, जस्ट इन द केस ऑफ एनी अदर डिविडेंड इनकम, एंड इट विल बी टैक्स एज पर योर स्लैब.
Can you repeat on the dividend income?
Yeah, so dividend income will be added in your slab, in your total income, right? Like you have salary income, you have business income, so आपके total income में add हो जाएगी, and then it will be taxed as per your slabs. Yeah, so another point that we should consider is DTAA, double tax avoidance agreement. तो डबल टैक्स अवॉइडेंस अग्रीमेंट इज सर्टेन नेशंस के साथ हमारा कुछ अग्रीमेंट हुआ है दैट हमें टैक्स एग्जेम्पशन मिल जाएगी या टैक्स क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा. सो उसमें देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ फैक्टर्स टू बी कंसिडर्ड इन दैट. सो इफ यू हैव डिपॉजिटेड सर्टेन टैक्स इन अदर कंट्रीज, उसका क्रेडिट या फिर एग्जेम्पशन आप ले सकते हैं.
Yeah. So we have via media, sir, again. So, sir, you can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you for allowing so many questions. I hope I'm not blocking the other speakers. I don't mind muting again if somebody is waiting to ask some question. Is it okay? Shall I go ahead?
Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me? Yeah, my question is regarding that tax harvestation which you told, because this is something which I have not done. I just want to understand it with a practical example. Like I'm holding TCS shares at say 900 rupees, and today the cost of the share is 3000 rupees. So basically, I'm not selling them because I'm just holding it for the long term. But what I understand is it right to say that I should sell it, in the for the long term capital gains, and then thereafter reinvest in the same share and keep doing this every year? You mean to say that I am losing out on that 1 lakh tax benefit by not doing this and just continuing to hold them without touching them? And also, but if I sell those shares and make a decent profit, there will be heavy taxation also, isn't it? That also will come into picture. And whether I'll be able to buy the same amount of shares with the remaining amount. So this is my query about this tax harvestation business.
Yes, sir. So, tax harvesting in itself, it's a little complicated. जितना easy ये sound करता है नहीं. थोड़ा सा technical है. But I think a lot of apps these days are offering you like they have some automated options जिसमें आप avail कर सकते हो tax harvesting. अदरवाइज अगर आपको मैनुअली करना है तो थोड़ा सा यू टू बी अ लिटिल केयरफुल. आपको टाइम टू टाइम अपना पोर्टफोलियो एनालाइज करना पड़ेगा. आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि अच्छा मेरा गेन 1 लाख पहुंचा है, 1 लाख से कम है, ज्यादा है, इज दिस द राइट टाइम टू सेल, राइट. उसके बाद बहुत सारे अदर फैक्टर्स भी हैं जैसे कि लिक्विडिटी इज वन थिंग. सो टू इम्प्लीमेंट इट प्रैक्टिकली एक छोटा सा हैक है कि टुडे आई डिसाइड टू सेल द शेयर्स. सो आप उतनी लिक्विडिटी रखो जिसमें आप जस्ट बिफोर सेलिंग द शेयर्स यू आर एबल टू बाय देम. तो आप पहले बाय ऑर्डर लगा दो एंड उसके बाद आप इमीडिएटली उसी प्राइस में सेल कर दो. सो उस तरह से आप का कोई भी फ्लक्चुएशन या फिर कोई भी डिफरेंस की वजह से आपका लॉस नहीं होगा. ऑल्सो अगर जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू हैव एन SIP, सो SIP, each SIP is considered independently for the purpose of taxation, right? सो हर SIP में हमें देखना होगा कि 12 मंथ का पीरियड एक्सीड हुआ है या नहीं. अगर हमारे वेरियस इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है SIP में एंड कोई SIP हमारी 11 मंथ्स में हमने सेल कर दी, सो वो सीधे सीधे शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन्स में चली जाएगी, उसे 15% टैक्स लग जाएगा. सो आई वुड इट्स नॉट इम्पॉसिबल बट या इट इज अ लिटिल टेक्निकल थिंग टू डू. सो you have to be a little careful with that.
So, in the example which I have given, I thought as a layman it's straightforward. Like cost of acquisition of TCS share was 900 rupees. Present day cost is 3000 rupees. So, it's a long term holding, obviously. So, if I sell it today at 3000 and then again rebuy it at 3000 and I claim that 1 lakh tax benefit. So, is it viable?
Sir,
Yes, yes.
Can I pitch in?
one moment, Sanjay, I will come to you. Sir, if I understood your question right and what Garima explained, so basically you need not sell all your equities or all your shares. And so if you want to save 1 lakh of capital gain, so that much, I mean the number of shares which amounts to a capital gain of 1 lakh, those many you can sell. And of course, secondly, you should have a liquidity in your account, not in the same account, or maybe in case if you have more than one demat account. And if it is in the same demat account, so you have to buy it next day or maybe day after, because if you do it on the same day, so it might invite intraday, if my understanding is right.
Yeah, and Prince, adding to your points, sir, to answer your question directly, it is definitely viable to sell it. It can be done. If your gains are well within 1 lakh or 1 lakh, आप बिल्कुल उसको सेल करके 1 लाख का एग्जेम्पशन क्लेम करके अपने टैक्स लाइबिलिटी को रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you very much, Mr. Prince. You made a very valid point that, it is only up to 1 lakh, only you can get that benefit. It is not that selling all the stocks in one go and then trying to buy it back or something. So that point was very correct, which you made. Thank you very much for
Thank
that.
you, sir. Sanjay, you wanted to add something. Make it quick.
No, I think you covered it very well. Basically, I mean, this tax harvesting is a sort of fancy name. ये उनके लिए है जो कि I mean, like I think the previous speaker, where they invest and forget, and they are not kind of active trader, और उनका कोई भी gain या loss नहीं बनता है within that year. So I mean, what this simply means, it's actually very simple. कि there is a 1 lakh exemption every year that you can avail of. तो जो भी आपकी होल्डिंग है उसमें से आप देखो कि अगर if you can trade that much minimum, कि भाई at least 1 lakh you can income you can generate without paying any taxes. So over a long period of time उसका जो capital accumulation है तो आप उसको स्प्रेड कर सकते हो इन द सेंस कि अगर वो आपका 8 लाख का उस समय एग्जांपल में गरिमा ने जो दिया था, उस प्रॉफिट को आप अगर ब्रेक कर देते हैं ओवर 8 years और whatever years, I mean it could be 2-3 years, I mean there is no, वो तो समझाने के लिए उन्होंने बताया था कि हर साल आप खरीदो हर साल बेचो. You can do whatever, you have 1 lakh rupees exemption, उसको यूज करके आप उसको अपने कैपिटल गेन को स्प्रेड कर सकते हो. बट दिस इज ओनली फॉर अ वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट, लाइक 10 साल में आप 10 लाख रुपया बचा सकते हो. सो दैट्स ऑल.
Right. Thank you, Sanjay. And one more thing before coming to other speakers, like what I mean, there could be occasions when you have a certain short-term capital gain in an year, right? And say if the financial year is coming to an end, and if you have some positions which are in loss, right? So you can also do that. You can realize your loss, and that would be offset against that gain which you have in that year, and perhaps next financial year you can buy the same equities, right? So yeah, with this I move on to next speaker. Ulavesh, you can quickly unmute and ask your question from Garima.
There are three quick questions. First is in relation to tax harvest. How is it going to impact grandfathered effect of the stocks and mutual fund? And second, whenever we do tax harvesting, then definitely it gets into annual income statement of in our income tax portal.
Garima, you got the question he asked, or shall I ask him to repeat again?
Sir, if you could repeat your question, I'll be able to answer it a little better. Yeah.
Okay. The tax harvest and its, for example, if I want to take the benefit of the tax harvest, and if I acquired those stocks before 2018, when the grandfathered effect was given, wherein it was completely tax-free. Hello?
Yeah, Ulavesh, wait for a second. Garima, you got his question?
Can I answer?
Yeah, yes, sir. Please go ahead and answer it.
Yeah, I mean, basically हुआ क्या है ना कि आपने जो tax harvest यूज कर लिया है, तो people have got the feeling कि we are doing something illegal or whatever, या कुछ उसमें elaborate चीज है. बेसिक सा पॉइंट ये है कि हर साल जो है आपको 1 लाख का एक टैक्स एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट है। तो वो जैसे 2.5 लाख का आपका लिमिट ओवरऑल रहता है, तो इसको आप समझिए कि 2.5 + 1 है। अगर आप कोई भी शेयर खरीदते या बेचते हैं तो यू कैन, अगर आप मतलब इसमें कोई रोल नहीं है कि आपने उसको ग्रैंडफादर किया हुआ है या कोई भी क्या, ग्रैंडफादर किया हुआ है तो आपका कैपिटल गेन उसके हिसाब से ही बनेगा। आई थिंक यू कैन एक्सप्लेन इसके बियॉन्ड।
Yeah, it's very clear.
Thank you, Ulavesh ji. Any other question you have, or shall we move on to next speaker?
No, last question. Now, whenever we sell or acquire any stock or mutual fund, in the income tax, annual income tax statement, it figures in AIS.
Yeah, it does. So what's the question?
Yeah, every year, if you go on doing a tax harvest, then it will be obviously it is just like on 1st of say April, I am withdrawing from PPF and again depositing on a second day, just without putting additional amount. I am taking a tax benefit. My question is it okay to do like this, or what is your opinion?
Yeah, so definitely any purchase or sales that we do in respect of capital assets वो हमारे AIS में reflect हो जाता है, but
बराबर.
अभी तक nobody has classified it as illegal, या फिर गवर्नमेंट ने इस पे कभी कोई, मुझे तो नहीं लगता है कि ऐसे कोई केसेस आए हैं जिसमें they've taken cognizance of it and कोई उसके repercussions हुए हैं. So it's totally legal and it's totally okay to do it. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके AIS में reflect हो जाएगा, so उससे आपको कोई घाटा है या फिर आपको कोई रिस्क है. So it's totally okay to do it.
Right. मतलब
I think I can
let
just
me,
add on this. Can I, Prince?
yeah, quickly you can.
या बेसिकली ये है कि मतलब आई थिंक अगेन आई पुट द पॉइंट कि मतलब ये सिर्फ उनके लिए है जिन्होंने जिन पूरे साल में कोई ट्रेड किया ही नहीं है और उनको लगता है कि अगर इसमें इनकम आ गया हम दिखा दिए और फिर अगले साल हम लेंगे, तो आई मीन ऑल दिस इज वेयर यू आर नॉट डूइंग एनी ट्रेडिंग एट ऑल, तब आप ये एक तरह से, अदरवाइज क्या है कि आपका जो नेचुरल आपने जो ट्रेड किया है हर साल आपको उस पर टैक्स देना ही है, और वो 1 लाख से कम है तो उस पर कोई टैक्स नहीं बनता है, 1 लाख से ज्यादा है तो यू हैव टू अकॉर्डिंगली पे टैक्सेस. तो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ 2.5 लाख का जैसे लिमिट है उसी तरह से ये एक एडिशनल लिमिट है, दैट्स ऑल. तो इस आई डोंट थिंक इट मेक्स एनी डिफरेंस कि हाँ वो AIF में आपका दिखाता है और वो मतलब यू आर थिंकिंग बिकॉज यू आर नॉट डूइंग एनी ट्रेडिंग एट ऑल. अदरवाइज एवरीवन एल्स जो बाकी जनता जो है वो हर साल कुछ ना कुछ ट्रेड कर रही है, उनका कुछ ना कुछ कैपिटल गेन टैक्स बनता है.
Thank you, Sanjay. So, like guys, let me tell you in a very simple manner कि जो टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग है वो कोई इलीगल एक्टिविटी नहीं है या फिर आप नहीं कर सकते, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. एंड इफ यू आर गेटिंग समथिंग इन योर एनुअल इनकम स्टेटमेंट देन आल्सो इट इज नॉट इलीगल. मोरोवर आप डिमैट अकाउंट में अगर कोई टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली इट विल बी रिकॉर्डेड इन योर डिमैट अकाउंट. So I do not think कि है ना there would be any issue. It is a smart move if you are able to implement and execute it properly. Nothing else you can do, or you can also avoid it. That is not an issue with that. You have, if you want to do this, you have to do it smartly.
Yes, definitely, Prince. And adding to your points, जैसे कि मैंने पहले mention किया था कि there is a difference between tax evasion and tax planning, and availing the exemptions that are available with us. तो गवर्नमेंट ने या फिर हमारे लॉज ने जो भी uh, उनको डिडक्शंस कह ले, लूप होल्स कह ले, अगर उनको स्मार्टली यूज करके हम अपना टैक्स बचा सकते हैं, सो व्हाई नॉट. देयर इज नथिंग इलीगल इन इट. अब ऑब्वियसली इवेजन नहीं करना चाहिए कि रिटर्न नहीं फाइल कर रहे हैं या रॉन्ग डिडक्शंस दिखा रहे हैं या है ना गलत एग्जेम्पशंस क्लेम कर रहे हैं. अदरवाइज इट्स टोटली ओके.
Yeah, right. And guys, before moving on to next speaker, let me make a quick request. If you're liking our session, do follow our handles so that we get the necessary motivation so as to bring more sessions and more knowledgeable people who are, selflessly sharing their knowledge and experience with you guys. Purely educational, no commercials involved. So yeah, do follow our handles, and I can bet like the type of content being shared by Garima and the type of people I host on my spaces, you will surely cherish, and definitely knowledge. We try to separate the noise from the, what we say, the information which we are seeking for. Yeah. So next is Chirag, I guess, right? Chirag Goel. Chirag Goel, you can quickly unmute and ask your question.
हेलो। मैडम मुझे एचयूएफ के रिगार्डिंग थोड़ा सा पूछना था, उसमें कैपिटल इंट्रोड्यूस कैसे करना है?
श्रीकांत,
Hello.
क्वेश्चन थोड़ा क्लियरली बोलेंगे, क्या क्वेश्चन था? इवन आई मिस्ड ऑन दैट.
सर मुझे एचयूएफ में कैपिटल इंट्रोड्यूस कैसे करना है उसके रिगार्डिंग मुझे मैडम से पूछना था।
Okay, you are asking about sovereign gold bonds, right?
नहीं सर, एचयूएफ।
अच्छा, HUF. Okay, sorry, my
एचयूएफ।
Hin-
bad.
Hindu undivided family.
हाँ, HUF,
एग्जैक्टली सर।
HUF, I know. So Garima, you want to take this question?
Yeah, hi, Chirag. So, yeah, if you have any ancestral property with yourself, you can introduce it in the form of your HUF's capital, and up to 50,000, I think you can contribute, and there is no, I think there are no tax implications of it, and yeah. So and how the HUF functions is the karta is there, and we have co-partners and members. So the karta and the members can introduce in the form of property or in the form of gifts, and below 50,000 it will not have any tax repercussions as such.
बेसिकली मैडम मेरे पास खाली इक्विटी शेयर्स हैं, क्या वो मैं एचयूएफ में अपने ट्रांसफर कर सकता हूँ? हेलो
Hello, hi. So,
सर, मेरे पास इक्विटी शेयर्स हैं, क्या मैं उसे एचयूएफ में ट्रांसफर कर सकता हूँ सर?
so Garima, Sanjay, if you have any answer to his question, or shall we move on to next question?
Yeah, so I will have to check on it and get back to you. Definitely, you can DM me your queries on HUF, and I will try to provide you the optimum solution for it.
ओके मैम, थैंक यू।
Okay, that would be more wise to give a right answer instead of, yeah. So Shrikant, you can quickly unmute and ask your question.
Yes, thank you, Prince, for arranging space on various topics. So my question is regarding the US stock investing. So currently, most of the mutual funds are not allowing to invest in the mutual direct allowing in the mutual fund, US mutual fund. So last 3 months, I am started the SIP in the particular one stock, that is Apple. So in that, I want to know about the taxation of the US regarding the dividends which I get, or and one is regarding the dividend, and another one is regarding when I sold the share after 10 years, suppose from here, and what will be taxation on the capital gain.
Yeah, so as I could get, Shrikant, you are investing in US mutual funds, is that correct?
No, no, direct stock, direct. You can suppose Apple stock, direct investment,
Okay,
direct
so you're
stock
making
investment,
you're making investment in foreign stocks, right?
right? Direct.
Okay. Yeah. So, you have to first consider the resident rule. Uh, while determining your tax liability, first you have to determine if you were a resident of this country in the preceding financial year. For it, we have certain preconditions with us. That is, one of the conditions is that you should be here in the country for 182 days or more, and there are other conditions as well. So, if you are a resident of this country, then those shares will be considered as unlisted shares, right? And the time period for it will be 2 years. So, if you sell the share before 2 year period, then it will be short term capital gain. And if you sell after 2 years, then it will be long-term capital gain, and the rate on it will be, in case of short-term capital gain, it will be added to your total income and tax as per your slabs. And in case of long-term capital gain, it will be 20%. Right, and the dividend you get from your investments will be added in your total income, and then will be taxed as per your slab only.
Okay. And I have one more query regarding the debt fund indexation. Can you elaborate on that some thought? Debt fund indexation tax.
Okay, so yeah, debt funds have the benefit of indexation with them, and the rate applicable will be, I think it will be 20%. Yeah.
How we can take the benefit of indexation? Any procedure, or it will be automatically done in the debt fund after redeeming?
So, while filing your returns and while determining your tax liability, I think most of the, your, I think the data will be available with you. Apart from that, if you want to take it up manually, then you can refer to the cost inflation indices that are available on the, government sites. And uh, uh, if you want me to explain CII, I will explain it to you briefly. So, for example, the CII for this year is, I think it is 331. So you will multiply it, and if you purchase you made the investment in 2002. So if the value of your the cost that at which you purchased was 10,000, so 10,000 into 331 upon the indices for 2002, I think it was 105. So in that way, you will be able to determine the index cost for it in terms of today's value, and you can subtract it from your total sales consideration.
Okay. Can you make please can you make one thread on that so it can be benefited for all the
Okay,
investors?
sure,
Okay.
sure. Thank you for the suggestion, Shrikant. We'll
Okay.
definitely share a thread on it.
Thank you,
Uh,
Gariman, Prince.
Thank you, Shrikant, for your kind words. And guys, we already have 4 5 speakers at hand. So, for owing to time constraint, we won't be taking fresh speaker requests. We will simply have questions from the existing speakers, and I'll be moving down some speakers who had asked their questions already, so that the voice issue doesn't happen. So, yeah, Chetan has been waiting quite a long. Chetan, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hey, Prince, thanks for the opportunity. So, one question in continuation with Srikant, as Garima mentioned, right? So, the dividend from US stock we need to add. So, is there any specific, I mean, under some specific tab we need to add, or existing dividend which we are doing for Indian equities, we need to just add it on the cost which we received from US stock dividend?
Hi, Chetan. Thank you for your question. So, dividend income is basically treated that as income from other sources, and you can show it as, if you want to show it entirely as dividend income, you can sum both up and add it to your total income, and the slab rates will be added accordingly.
Okay, no
There is
separate.
no such there is no different treatment for those,
Okay.
right? You can treat the entire sum as your dividend income.
Okay. And one more question on long-term capital gain. The loss out of LTCG, can we compensate with property gain from some of the property?
Yeah, definitely. You can set off gains from, say, you have losses in equity, then you can totally set it off from long-term capital gain from property or any other. There are no restrictions on, the kind of gain that you have. The only condition is long-term capital loss can only be set off against long-term capital gain only.
Okay. Okay. And the last question, means if we need to carry forward the loss of long term, like is there any section where we may need to mention that amount, or like how it is done?
I can't recall the section right now. I think it's I'm not really sure about the section, but yeah, you can carry it forward for 8 years. like I mentioned, the only precondition for it is you have to file your returns timely, and you can take it forward for another 8 years and keep setting it off.
Thanks for your question, Chetan. I think you got your answer. So we have Vibin with us. Vibin, you can unmute and ask.
Hey, thank you for the session. Um, so my question is pretty related to what Chetan asked, Karima. So I have this like huge unrealized loss that I have. I'm thinking that I'll probably sort of show it against the tax. Is there a limit on the amount that you can show, or that you can sort of get back? Like, say, hey, you've lost this amount and not pay income tax for it. Is there a limit?
Hi, Vipin. So, see, the only limit that is you can carry it forward for 8 years, and there are no limits as pertaining to the amount. There are no limits. Yeah. So, if you have a gain of 1 lakh, then and you have a loss of say 2 lakhs, then you can reduce the 2 lakh amount from your 1 lakh gains, and the remaining 1 lakh you can carry it forward for the next year, only up to 8 assessment years. After that, you can't do it.
Okay, so let's say I paid a tax of 10 lakhs, and if I have like a loss of 3 lakhs, I can I can offset it. Is it so? I only have to pay 7 lakhs ka tax. Is that right?
I think you're trying to say is you have gain of 10 lakh and you have a loss of 10 lakhs and a gain of 3 lakhs. Is that correct?
No. That's not. So let's say after gain and loss, I have a loss of 3 lakhs. Okay. Now, can I sort of take that 3 lakhs and offset it against my taxes? Can I do that?
Yeah, you can take it forward the next year, and you can set it off from your capital gains. So if you have
Oh, okay.
the next year, if you have capital gains of say 5 lakhs, so you can settle the 3 lakh loss amount from your 5 lakh capital gains.
Oh, okay. So you can only take it away from your capital gains. Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Okay.
Right.
So Vibin, if I understood your question right, basically अगर ऐसे टैक्स एडजस्ट होने लगा तो शेयर मार्केट में तो बहुत सारे लॉस करते हैं तो there would be no tax as such. So it would be like offset only. So next we go to Suresh. Suresh, you can unmute and ask. Suresh, are you there? Okay, straightforward, you can unmute and ask. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a few questions. Like, if you have some investments, some shares, get stopped, due to liquidity, or there is no trading, or they go down under. So, in that case, how do you value and value the loss? See, for example, some of the old investments, or like something you missed the opportunity to sell, and then there are some small things which are lying in everybody's account, that is a wrong investment, and then the share is not trading anymore. So, is there any way to value the loss? How do you? Because it is not cleared; it is just dead investment.
Is the question clear, Garima?
See, let me give you an example. See, when Kingfisher was there, maybe I had some 500. I sold 300 at maybe when it was like 300 or something, and I had bought it at maybe 100. And then 200 is lying with me, and now it is not traded. So you cannot sell that 200, right? So that in that 200, I have made a loss compared to my investment. So it's, shall we count it as zero, and then the whole amount can be put it in the loss? And is it just at the nominal value, or if it is like after 12 years, 10 years? So how do you account for that?
So I think it will be treated as unlisted shares and taxed accordingly. Like I have already mentioned, I think twice I've mentioned about the case of unlisted shares, how they will be taxed. Uh, there's a time of 2 years to determine the uh, capital gains. If it's before 2 years, it's short-term capital gain, and If it's after 2 years, it's long-term capital gain. So I think it will be treated as unlisted shares only.
Garima, if I understood his question correctly, basically he's saying he had a company, say X, and he sold some shares, so maybe in profit or maybe loss. That is one thing. And secondly, the remaining shares with him, they went bust. The company is no more listed or maybe went zero, right? So in such case, he's saying, say his initial investment, for example, was 1 lakh, right? So then that 1 lakh rupees is zero today. So he's asking, would that 1 lakh be adjusted against any gains he have during that period, or maybe yeah, if I correct understood it
100%
correct.
Prince, 100% Prince, you are correct. But the thing is that now, how do you sell? Because you are not making a transaction. It is lying as dead investment. So there is no sale transaction to be accounted. It is lying as dead investment. So you are not able to sell it to anybody. So how do you register that loss? Are you getting me? See, if I
Yeah,
if
I got your question, and I fear like until and unless one is able to realize a profit or a gain, I mean profit or a loss, he or she would be able to claim any benefit. Uh, if there would be any others, sorry, anything to it, I am not aware of. And Garima, if you know, you can tell. Otherwise, we can take this question later also.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much to do about it. Unfortunately, as per my opinion, I don't think you can do anything about it right now.
okay, one
Uh,
more question, if I can ask.
yeah, sure.
The
Go ahead.
all kinds of corporate actions, split or merger or anything is automatically adjusted in the return, and then we don't have to worry about when we are selling. So any kind of a splits happening, any kind of a like companies making a separate subsidiary and listing it, so whichever way, so either they are reverse mergers and all that. So do we need to worry about and check the calculation, or it will be automatically applied in the written form?
Okay, so in the case of, amalgamations or merger or demergers, there are a lot of rules that have to be considered. So, you know, like of a lot of expenses, and then a lot of conditions, and I think indexation costs have to be determined separately as well. So, it's a very detailed topic in itself. I think we can consider it later on. And as per my knowledge, I think all those provisions they are automatically applied, I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your question.
So I think Garima, we are done for the day as far as questions are concerned. Actually, we thought of 45-50 minutes, but it lasted more than that. And when it comes to taxation, people have so many questions. So surely we will have some another round with you. And thank you for all the attendees who patiently listen to us. And just for quick information, tomorrow we have one spaces on small cap and micro cap investing with the value educator, Shashank Mahajan, basically. So those who are interested, they can join tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'll post on my handle. So Garima, thank you for your time and insights you shared, and people really love your threads and the information or content which you share on your handle. And guys, please do check our handle and do give a follow to her so that the good content and the good sets reach to you. And additionally, I have an open request for people who have market experience, and if they want to educate us on any expertise they have, maybe related to market or maybe anything related to on which we can benefit. So my forum would be open for that, open for everybody. So feel free to DM me or tag me in any tweet so that I can get in touch and fix that. Yeah, Garima, any concluding remarks you have on your end?
Yeah, Prince. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you to all the listeners as well. You know, you're taking up a brilliant initiative by doing this spaces from time to time, and we get to learn so much from your spaces. And today itself, a lot of things were a learning for me as well. right? So yeah, so it was very nice being here.
Great, great. It was your maiden spaces, and literally it went great. And I hope we have the needed platform now, and more insight should reach more people. And again, any people, any person who has good expertise in any domain, so they can reach me out so that we can. I mean, it is the least we can do, so, right? Learning is one thing which is eternal, right? The till our last breath, we learn something or the other. So it would be wise to form a network, or maybe because we say network is net worth, right? So people from different skill set, different expertise and domain, they can really help with us, which also help us with analyzing companies and various facets in life also. So thank you, Garima. For sure, we will have sessions down the line, and I also see many familiar faces, Shushma ji, Dinesh ji. So surely we'll get in touch with them also, and try to get the insights so that we all can benefit, right? So thank you again, and good night for today. The session was recorded and it will be available on my handle. And if I get the recording right, I surely place it over my YouTube channel so that it can be revisited later also, because Twitter Spaces has some limitations of keeping the recording for a month or so. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for your time, and do appreciate our work if you're liking. And if you have any negative feedback as well, do write to us so that we can work on that. Yeah. Good night, Garima. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night.